Alright, this is gonna be my first, like, hindsight Starcade, video, in the series. This is Starcade 83, originally entitled, Flair for the Gold. That was the subtitle anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna change this. I love the idea for Flair for the Gold, right? But I want to go with the Wrestling Extravaganza of the century. I'm gonna hold off a Flair for the Gold. I think you can get off of doing that if you do a Flair for the Gold the next year. Just the way I'm building this up, I think it'll work quite well. Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about later. Okay, I'm being more lenient with my rosters, I would say, than Mickey Babylon, definitely. I'm gonna go with any NWA affiliates I could get at the time, as long as they're like living and they're good. I'm gonna use them for this card. You know, you would have your legends at the show, obviously. They always do. Just in the back or whatever. I don't want any of them refereeing. Almost all of them count really fucking slow, and they throw off the match and make it not as great as it should have been. Yeah, Gene Kiniski. Angela Mosca. Don't count like you're friggin' mentally delayed or something. Anyway, our first, so yeah, I'm bringing in like Andre the Giant because, hell, he could have easily done it if he wanted. Vince would have said, "All right, buddy, whatever." So this, I'm gonna sort of test this thing early on with our opener, Magnum TA versus Arn Anderson. They would be very young here in their careers, but still credible wrestlers. You know, I want to move Anderson. I want to make Arn Anderson early because he was not Arn Anderson yet. That's not his real name, obviously. Yeah, he's going to be part of the Anderson family early, and Magnum TA is Magnum TA now, even if it might have not started till like 85 or 84. So let's get this going. Anderson wins at the Spinebuster. Card starts out hot. He's not so much a heel. He's a heel, but he's not like a big heel yet, so it's not like the crowd would just shit on it. Be a good opener. Then we get Carlos Colón versus Abdullah the Butcher. You know, blood-soaked mayhem, but I would keep it out of the ring because I don't want the ring staying this early. I want the ring to be christened with the blood of either Piper or Valentine later in the show. So, yeah, we get this. I got this kind of idea. They were actually on the card originally, but I still wanted to do this anyway because I knew that they were connected to the promotion at the time. This is because I had a book when I was a child. It was given to me. It was from before I was alive, but still. It featured like Carlos Colón and Abdullah the Butcher around the world, Puerto Rico, Japan, just bleeding all over the place. From all their, you get to see like kind of shades of their wars and who they war, what they were like, and it really captured my imagination. Just the savagery, the imagery, just shocking and everything. I think this would be good. It would be shock and scare, but excite the kids, and the adults would be like, yeah, because they always want blood. We're like that, right? And yeah, it just works. Abby would have the fork and everything, you know. This would just be all over the place. It would actually end in the ring. Almost immediately when they get in the ring, I would have a really shocking move. Carlos Colón doing a top rope, kind of like a Rey Mysterio type senton, and getting the kind of like the quick pin. Abby kicks out like immediately. The crowd's in shock. Abby's in shock. Colón's, you know, ecstatic. I just think that's a good match for the crowd. But then we have Bob Orton Jr. and Dirty Dick Slater versus Wahoo McDaniel and Dusty Rhodes. This would be in North Carolina, so I want to keep Wahoo on the card. I don't think he's the strongest wrestler, but he did what he did well, and they loved him in Carolina. There'd be no reason to not have him on this card. Rhodes wasn't technically wasn't working with Jim Crockett yet, so I'm using my little NWA thing. He was in Florida, I believe, Mid-South or something. I know he faced Flair in Florida in '83. It's hard to find information in '83 online. Just telling you. You'd have Wahoo and Rhodes go over. I gotta say, Wahoo gets the flying overhand chop from the second row. I think that would get a good pop from the crowd. It'd be hot, and it would just get them warmed up for this next match, which is the biggest reason why I was more lenient with the rosters. I'm trying to find my water. This would be Giant Baba and Andre the Giant versus Stan, Larry, and Hansen and Dick Murdoch. Wow, what a dream match. Japanese fans would love this. American, strong, like, tough guy fans would like this. It's just, who wouldn't like this? Let's face it. This is a highly plausible match, I would think, at the time. It's not like it couldn't happen. It's just, you know, Booker Man doesn't always see that shit. This would end in like not a double countout or even DQ, like it's just a no contest, and they're just going all over the building, beating the hell out of each other. Everyone tries to break them off. They can't do it. They end up in the back. You know, once it's behind the curtain, they can do whatever they want. Okay, then the crowd's like all like, whoa, whoa, what did I just see? So we want to bring out the young, kind of all like the Flyers, like the young, good-looking kids that were over. It's Ricky Steambaot and Jay Youngblood challenging Jack and Jerry Briscoe for the NWA World's Tag Team Championships. Ricky and Jay go over after losing one fall. Briscoes are, you know, they're going to make them even more cocky than they originally were, slapping the guys around, doing all this shit. They give up a quick roll-up victory to Youngblood, and Steamboat just ends up taking the match like almost all by himself when Youngblood's taken out. And he just kind of like becomes like this is his first like star performance. Like, this guy's going to be something. And that's what you want to do. You want to establish him more so than Youngblood. Because let's face it, Youngblood's like, yeah, he's the high-flying kid. You can do it. He's not the greatest wrestler. Steamboat would be the rest of the group, which is a great thing about tag teams. I mean, do you honestly think Road Dogg would be anywhere without tag wrestling? Fuck. So, yeah, you establish in the future. Now, I switched this around a little bit because I want the dog collar match next, right before the main event. It might seem like too much, but I don't think it is at all. Fans can handle this. They were ready for this. This was the big show. It's not like it's a television show or a house show. Anyway, we had that dog collar match between Greg the Hammer Valentine, I don't even know who's the Hammer yet, and Roddy Piper. You know, Piper, I would have him, he'd be cutting the promos with like the one where he smashed the bottles over his head and he was bleeding, all that kind of stuff. You get that Piper. I fired up Piper, where he's almost crazy. He'll do anything to beat Valentine. You have Valentine just being the dirty, evil, rough, tough guy who just beats the hell out of people, kicks them in the face when they're down. He doesn't care. He's like basically, he's like how the Dynamite Kid was in real life, but in the ring. I like that for Valentine. He just doesn't care about people. Soccer kicks them when they're down, all that shit. Knocks their teeth out, laughs if he sees teeth or blood. And you have Piper take the big beating. I guess I can't really book him getting hit in the ear and having his equilibrium all fucked up. So, yeah, I would just have to hope that happens. Because that made the match even better. Yeah, Piper goes over, sleeper hold. Valentine passes out. Piper wins. Okay, then we have our main event match. You would have a lot of build up this, but Ric Flair is like the younger guy, and he's coming in, and he's really hot, but he's not quite Nature Boy yet. He's Ric Flair, and he's hot, and he's over, especially in the Carolinas. But he's not the same Ric. He's not quite the same Ric Flair that we're all used to, the Nature Boy. That, don't worry, I'm not scrapping that. I'd have to be a fucking clown to do that. An ass clown, maybe. Okay, so we have Ric Flair Harley race, NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, that's nothing new. What is new is Ric Flair has yet to head the NWA World Championship in this timeline. The crowd wants it really, really bad. They're into it even more than the original inaugural Starcade, the one in reality. You know, this is also the first confrontation between Race and Flair in the ring. They've had like run-ins and there's been attacks, but even then, it's been mostly henchmen. Flair gets through all that, gets a shot. He has his goal of winning. He's about to pick it up. Race beats him, just barely pins him, and Big One escapes Flair. You know, he doesn't win. Race retains. There's always next year. Now, a lot of people are going to be shocked by this. I mean, it is a pretty big shocker that Flair wouldn't win this match. But next year, I think I'll do a Flair for the gold. Like, I still got to book it, but I might be able to do it tonight, but probably tomorrow afternoon, maybe tomorrow night. Anyway, this has been, I don't know what to call it. If anyone has a good title, just rebooking Starcade, I guess. I want to give a shout out once again to Mickey Babylon. I'll try to leave a link in the description box. By the time these things are uploaded, I always forget. I do it sometimes, but wherever, you know. So this has been my the start of my Starcade series. I only think it's going to get much better. It'll be interesting when WCW comes around because of the New Japan involvement. I'm a huge Japanese fan. I'm actually challenging people, if you want to do your own kind of hindsight series, I'd consider maybe Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom could be good. Or like Super J Cup. You know, whatever you can come up with, just go with it. It's fun, it feels good, it gets your creative juices flowing. This is actually some work. 83 is tough, man. If you're going that far back, it's tough to pick up good information. Unless you go with no rules. But I want to go with rules, keep it kind of within reality. I think it's better that way. So, I've been Sean. Steve Buscemi, Pillow, Sleeping with Famous People. Yeah, you've been, I'm sure you've been good. I don't know, you might be bastards, but anyway, take it easy.